The incessant rain from the morning waned, and by late afternoon, a light drizzle complemented with a fresh breeze came through sparse clouds. This and the rhythmic clatter of horse hooves is testing Aelric's will to stay awake. Dorothea has long since fallen asleep beside him, and he wishes to do the same, but every time he closes his eyes, Aelric is enveloped in darkness, a cold, uncaring emptiness like the depths they fought out of. He rubs his weary eyes and stretches in hopes of shaking off the fatigue. His arms reach out overhead, but as he moves his legs, his foot bumps into something, a small body wrapped in a blanket, and he stops. Aelric reaches for his canteen instead. The cart creaks, then jolts as the driver carelessly navigates the dirt road. Dorothea wakes up, blinking several times and wiping saliva off her lower lip. Aelric passes her a handkerchief, which she accepts. Aelric looks down once more to the body on the floor of the cart, and it's changed somewhat. Wren's almond eyes are open slightly, flittering as the light from the fir trees towering overhead catch her face. She looks over to Aelric and inquires quietly about her near demise. From his pack, Aelric withdraws a long arrow with a barbed tip. Shot not from a bow, but a cleverly placed trap just out of sight. She replies in a foreign tongue, which causes Dorothea to tilt her head quizzically. Aelric tells Dorothea that Ren said thank you. Ren then closes her eyes, and Aelric turns his own to the horizon and the town coming up on it. Aelric pays the cart driver for the journey, short, albeit worth the price. Collecting their things, they dismount the carriage, stepping into the muddy streets of the town center. This late in the afternoon, commotion swells from the tavern, and the few shops in town have long since closed for the day, though Aelric finds something odd. Looking about, there are more men walking around with torches lit and swords at the hip, a city watch, some of which appear to be volunteers, considering Aelric doesn't recognize many of them. Aelric pays little mind to the increased guard and entrusts the sacred rosary to Dorothea. The group separates, taking the evening and the next few days to themselves. The group decides to carouse, pitching in 30 gold pieces to enjoy their time. With no bonus, we have Ren rolling a 7 and Dorothea and Aelric rolling a 6. The former gaining 4 experience and a bard ally, while the latter two will gain 4 experience but are cheated out of some well-earned money. Let's see how this pans out. After a few nights of rest, Aelric invites Ren out to celebrate their recent return. The Cup and Sword, out of a few taverns in town, this one has the cheaper drinks and the clientele to match. Tonight was like many others, a rowdy crowd drowning the workday in ale and cards, not to mention the off-key singing that could be heard on the other side of town. Settling themselves in the smoke-filled room, Ren and Aelric toast to a job well done. Aelric's merriment is soon interrupted. A familiar face comes strolling in through the front door and looks around. Striding to the bar top, this figure asks the tavern keep a few questions. After a short while of talking, this figure slides the barkeep a couple of coins. Delighted, the tavern keep points to Aelric, who sinks in his chair. The figure finds Aelric and sits down next to him like an old friend. Aelric groans, putting his head in his hands. He quietly asks Ren to leave, and she does so reluctantly. The interloper helps himself to Ren's drink before cutting right to the chase. Aelric owes money, a monthly payment to a certain debt. Being in such a nice tavern and all, the man asks Aelric for a little more. Aelric refuses, but the man presses on. With such a haul, surely he can pass on a few extra coins. Adventuring is dangerous. Aelric could die any day. It would be a total shame for that money to go to waste. To think that because of Aelric, a poor mother lost her son and their well-born family cannot support itself the way it once could. Aelric slams his fist into the table, drawing the ire of others around him. He reaches into a coin pouch and throws a fistful of coins onto the table. Satisfied, the man collects his payment, bows, and leaves. Once drinking in merriment, he now drinks away his sorrow. Come the end of the night, Aelric stumbles around the darkness, looking for his lodgings. Was it that way? Did he just pass it? Forget it. He plants his back against a wall and slides down, turning his eyes up to the clear skies above. The bright moon above is pleasant to look at, and he loses himself in it for a time. There is a sharp cry, and he turns his head and rises to his feet quickly, gurgling and retching in a cacophony of torture and pain. Aelric runs towards the sounds, stumbling along the way. A shadow darts past him. Turning the corner, a crumpled figure lays in the darkness, convulsing, sputtering. A hand reaches towards Aelric and he draws closer, but by the time he's within reach, the man is dead. Aelric reaches for the body and discovers only a small amount of blood coming from the arm. How is such a wound fatal, and why does it smell so putrid? Rolling a wisdom check at disadvantage, his foe reveals nothing more. The town guard's commotion draws near, and Aelric scampers into the dark. Meanwhile, Ren, having left Aelric, knows not to get involved. She wanders over to the front and orders herself another drink. Before long, her solitude is broken up by a man claiming to be quite the musician. He He is skilled with singing as he is the lute. As it would happen, the bard is wanting to sing a duet tonight of his newest piece, but he cannot find a singer. When Ren asks why, he is honest. The song is exceptionally distasteful, and moreover, it would not please certain noble homes to hear of it. Ren has half a mind to ignore the offer, like many others have before her. But this mind is muddled with alcohol and by the generous offer of connections. While she's here, she has a mission to complete and return home, so if it's a little singing, albeit off-key, to complete her task, then a little admonishment of nobles is what she will do. Having entirely lost track of Aelric, Ren enjoys the free drinks from the salacious songs sung about a not-so-well-liked noble. With the revelry dragging on late into the night, she eventually decides to leave. However, the bard is open to giving her one last piece of advice. If she is to leave, leave quickly, and only head straight to her inn-room. Lately, nights have been dangerous with a series of murders and everyone is on edge. Ren takes the advice to heart, making sure she is quick to return to her lodgings for the night. Dorothea returns with the sacred rosary, much to the approval of the local ministry that sent her out in the first place. As a reward, she is provided with 3 bottles full of a pale red tonic promised to be blessed with healing properties. She takes a few days of respite before resuming her duties at the orphanage. The children's smiles always bring a warmth to her heart that little else can match. Kneeling down, she participates in a game with some of the orphans under her watch. She's so absorbed in the game that she fails to notice the figure moving behind her and the bony hand placed upon her shoulder. From joy to sheer terror in moments. She reaches for her mace, but it's not there. This thing is just like the ones in the tomb. Turning around quickly, Dorothea faces the skeleton grabbing her, and she sighs in relief. It's just the matron superior. An elderly woman, frail as she is faithful, and she's calling Dorothea's attention. The matron superior regretfully asks Dorothea for another task. An acolyte was sent to investigate strange sightings around Falkenhurt's manor and is not reported in some time. Dorothea agrees. However, despite the urgency of the matter, the matron superior requests one more task of utmost importance. There is a man, familiar to Dorothea, who is making a ruckus in the church, and she is to see him removed. Dorothea looks at the matron quizzically and excuses herself from the orphanage. The cacophony is apparent before Dorothea even enters the temple, an unholy snoring echoing within these sacred stone walls that Dorothea fears may wake the dead. She calls out, a snore. She calls louder, only snoring replies. Moving closer, she recognizes the figure as Aelric, and Dorothea tries to... Stepping back, Dorothea calms herself and remembers the virtues of... Taking a ladle of water, she splashes it on Aelric, who cocks his drunken eyes on her after waking up with a jolt. After a brief discussion, he is moved to a more suitable room, and Dorothea is sure to pay extra in penance to her unruly companion. After a said night, the 3 convene for their next plan of action. Aelric constantly looks over his shoulder every time the door opens in the tavern. His run-in with the murder has not sat well with him, and he cannot shake the paranoia. As much as he suggests looking into the murders, the town watch are reluctant to letting outsiders look into the affair unless they are deputized, which Aelric doesn't plan on doing. In the meantime, Dorothea suggests that they follow up on the matron superior's request at Falkenhurt's manor. They all agree, and wish to set off first thing the next morning. Dismissing for the afternoon, Dorothea returns to the abbey for one more task. No amount of prayer can save this man, the latest victim in a series of crimes plaguing the town. Dorothea has her hands outstretched, beseeching the goddess to show her mercy for this victim. Nothing can be done. In a short time, this one too has perished. No amount of herbs, nor tinctures, nor prayers could work. A sacrament for the recently deceased is given, and the abbey is left with one more body to bury. Dorothea rubs her irritated nose. The acrid smell of the victim fills her nostrils. Why is this happening, and who is doing this? Dorothea mutters to herself. Maybe Aelric is right, if only there was something they could do to prevent the next tragedy. From the previous session's loot, the party has gained 3 experience each, with an additional 4 experience from the carousal. The loot was worth 78 gold altogether. Both Aelric and Dorothea lost 5% of their wealth from the carousing rolls, on top of a little bit of preparation for their dive into Falkenhurt's manor. Thank you for watching. As part of this project, my videos are aiming to be around 10 to 15 minutes, and since this downtime video went longer than I thought it would, I felt appropriate to give it its own episode. Let me know how you feel about a full downtime episode, or if I should squeeze in at least a room or 2 of the next dungeon. Based on previous feedback, I adjusted the audio. I hope this is better, and if not, I'll simply try again. Until next time.